Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and whatever the rest of you are. I know it's been a while since I've done my last video. My health has been kind of an issue, but we're making a little bit of improvement in that arena. I got a few things I want to talk to you about today, and I'm going to do something today that you're going to be in shock to hear me say, but I'm going to start giving advice. I think it's time to give advice instead of just making recommendations. And my camera's not level, is it? I can't stand that. I hate it when I'm not. It won't level itself. But anyway, I'll get started on it right after this. Hey. Roger. Rocket Chick. Roger. Hello there. I'll get this health stuff out of the way. Last week I went to a cardiologist to get just a heart health checkup and see what's going on, why I feel so bad. I've been going on 5 months now where I'm not feeling like a normal human being and feeling like my normal self, and kind of exhausted all the time, fatigued, tired, sickly, and so he did an EKG, and based on the EKG, he wants me back tomorrow to do an echo and a stress test. So we'll see if something's going on with my cardiovascular system, and maybe explain why, besides this insistent ringing in my head, figure out why I feel so bad. But I'm going to do the best I can. So I'll keep you updated on that. I want to get just something I've never really talked much about before. Folks, here's some advice for you. Don't come here with $100 bills and $50 bills for money. When you come here, I'm hoping that you know enough about this place and know enough about how much money you need, some cash. You're going to need some cash because some of you are going to, maybe rent an apartment, and you're going to want to pay cash. Some of you may just use Airbnb. That won't be a big deal. But if you come here and you're going to rent an apartment, don't plan on paying for it with $100 bills, because you can't imagine the nightmare hassle it is to get those $100 bills deposited in the bank. We had one last week. The lady that came here, nice lady, came here and rented an apartment from Stella, and she paid with $19 $100 bills. We had to go to her bank, and they wanted her to document every serial number on every bill, and every T had to be crossed and every I had to be dotted. The bank wouldn't take it. We finally just said to hell with it, and we took it to my bank. My bank took it, and without having to document everything. But it's a hassle to get rid of these large bills. Don't bring $50 and $100 bills with you, period, okay? You can bring all the $2 bills you want, and 20s will be fine. Don't bring $100 bills with you, okay? It's a hassle. I can point you to so many people that have had to go back with them, because you couldn't get rid of them here. Another thing that I've been seeing a lot of lately, hearing from people that are wanting to come here and they immediately want to buy a piece of property. Don't do that, folks. Do your exploratory. Keep yourself in storage. Do an exploratory. Come in here, live here for 6 months or a year. Rent an apartment. Don't come here planning to buy a piece of property, because if you don't like it, after a year or so, you've been here and you decide this is not the place for you, you're going to have hell selling that property. I can introduce you to a handful of people that have had property for sale for 3 or 4 years now. And they've got it advertised and listed, and nobody's, they're not selling. So I hate to burst your bubble. Because I talked to some lady last week, and she was all excited about coming here, about meeting me, meeting Stella, and so forth, and buying me a beer and having a breakfast with me or whatever. And she's all excited, and I could hear all the excitement in her voice. And I'm thinking, and she's never been here. And I'm thinking, what the hell is she doing? I don't care how nice and paradise-like you think it is. You may not like it, folks. You just may not. Most people do. But I know a lot of people that didn't like it and they left. So don't get rid of all your stuff. Slow down. Take your time, okay? Come here and live here for 6 months. At least 6 months. Rent an apartment. You know, you can still get pretty affordable apartments here. Ocean view apartments, oceanfront, no beachfront properties, well, unless you go to Santa Marinita or somewhere like that. But just plan on being smart about this and just come here and explore first. Don't get rid of everything. That's my biggest regret about coming down here, was selling my condo and selling my car and getting rid of all my good clothes and shoes and stuff. And not saying that I want to go back, but it's just like, I thought if I had to go back for a health reason or something, I'm going to have hell finding a place to stay. I have a U.S. address in Grand Prairie, Texas. Now, it used to be in Phoenix, but I have access to an address to stay for a while. But if I just rented my apartment, my condo out, instead of selling it, I could easily just say, folks, you got to get out. I got to come back home anyway. So that's that, okay? The other thing I want to talk about is I saw a post on Facebook the other day, and this guy referenced this other YouTube couple that we all know about. I like to call them Amy and Jeppy. Or would that be Jippy? Amy and Jeppy. I'd stick with Amy and Jeppy. They actually posted something somewhere that actually made kind of sense to me, and I thought I'd share it with you because I think it's important for you to know. I'm going to read just one paragraph here, okay? I took this straight off of a Facebook post, okay? Following this, an email from Amy and Jeppy on YouTube. Two highly experienced world travelers who have lived in at least 5 countries. I recently just left the South American country where I guarantee you'll be sued if you say anything nasty about a professional person or a business. Free speech isn't free everywhere. Okay? Now you heard me say that. I want to say it again. Free speech isn't free everywhere. Especially the kind of free speech we know about in the United States. As Americans, we take a lot for granted when it comes to freedom of speech, especially since criticizing public figures or leaving a scathing online review is this part of daily life. An Indonesian TikToker was sentenced to nearly 3 years in prison for making a light-hearted remark about Jesus needing a haircut. Whether or not you agree with the laws in these countries isn't really the point. The point is, they exist. And when you're traveling or living abroad, you're subject to local laws, not the ones back home. Okay? So before venting online, I see this a lot here, okay? Before venting online or posting something controversial, it's worth asking, how might this be interpreted in this country? One says, if you wouldn't say it to them in person, don't post it online. I hope Amy and Jeppy will forgive me my editing, but shorter is more likely to be read, and it's important. You left your rights back home, and the embassy cannot help you should you get in trouble. Believe it. Okay, folks. I mean, I've never brought this up before, but I think I've said sometimes, leave your expectations at the airport, and you can say the same thing about rights. Don't think about American rights or Canadian rights when you come to Ecuador. You badmouth somebody here, and you can get sued. You say something bad enough, and you can get thrown in jail. Okay, and when you get thrown in jail here, you have to have somebody take care of you, bring you food and all that kind of stuff. So keep your mouth shut. Don't come here with your smart, cocky attitude that some of you come here with and think that you can say what you want to say about anybody, whether it's Americans or locals. Don't do it. There's a lot some people that I would love to talk about, but I'm not going to do it. Even if they call me and ask me why, that you blocked me from your channel, why did you block me from your Facebook group? I'd have to say, can't tell you. That's just all there is to it. That's the way it is here. The last thing I want to talk about, for those of you, I've had recently, I've witnessed horrific things happen to people that made some poor choices in terms of buying healthcare insurance for here in Ecuador. Everybody knows that there's the government health system, IES, IESS, they pronounce it IES. Stella will tell you that IES is for Ecuadorian people. Okay, but now I know lots of Americans that come here and used IES and did just fine. Okay, but sometimes things don't work quite the way you would expect. Okay, the case, or what is the meaning of this? My advice to you, again, so I'm giving advice. My advice to you is if you're planning to come here and you're going to stay here for any length of time, whether you plan to be permanently or 6 months or a year or whatever, get in touch with somebody like Blue Box Insurance and buy a secondary private insurance policy. Okay? I've witnessed some bad stuff here recently. I'm not blaming it on IES. I'm just blaming it on the system. Okay? This lady fell and broke her hip, and she had to spend 24 hours laying on a gurney in an emergency room because they were just so busy and they couldn't get to her. And she broke her hip. And they finally transferred her to another hospital in Puerto Viejo, a clinic. And she went there, and she laid there for 2 or 3 days, and they just could not get parts and stuff, So this kind of stuff happens. I watched Mark Badbury go through, 34 weeks of intensive care and having to go buy his medicine, even his bottled water, But anyway, I finally convinced this couple just to go private. And I said, stop relying on the government health system, because right now they were having trouble getting parts and getting doctors, to operate on her. So, and that's just the way it is in the government health system here. I'm not saying that to be bad-mouthing IES or the country of Ecuador, but I called up my friend Dr. Juan Fernandez, the orthopedic surgeon that worked on my foot and worked on Stella's knee and worked on a number of other hips and backs and shoulders and broken bones and stuff. And I asked him, can you bail these people out? And they want to go private, they'll pay privately. And he made arrangements that night to put her in an ambulance and brought her right back to Manta and put her in a really nice clinic. And the next day he operated on her. And he had everything he needed, and she's in recovery now. So please, if you come in here and you're going to be here for a while, go ahead and sign up for IES, okay? But also spend the extra $40, $50, $60, $80, whatever, and get a private policy to go along with it, because you may want to be in a private facility and not in a ward somewhere, okay? So I hope nobody takes that the wrong way. I didn't mean that to be critical of the healthcare system here, but I'm telling you, if I fell and broke my leg or broke my hip or something, I would want to be in a private hospital. We got some really nice private facilities here, and where you can have a private room and TV and nursing care and everything. All right, my private health insurance policy cost me $88 a month. It was $68, but it's gone up 30% just because of medical inflation, and I think they're trying to make back some money from some claims I filed. And I'm sitting here gagging on somebody's cigarette smoke down the way, so I guess I'll cut it off here. But thanks for watching this channel. Thanks for watching this video. If you like this video, smash that thumbs up button. If you didn't like it, bite me, okay? And I say that with peace and love. I'll see you on the next one. Ciao, ciao.